A man named Desmond arrived at his job late as usual. He didn't even notice that the security guard looked strange today. He also completely missed the bloodstains on the elevator doors because he was focused on clocking in right away. When he entered the office, he walked past 2 dead bodies lying on the floor without a second glance and quickly went to his desk. Right after he sat down, his manager called him into his office. Desmond, who was used to being yelled at for being late all the time, was surprised when the manager didn't scold him. Instead, the manager was constantly sharpening a pencil with a dangerous look in his eyes. Confused, Desmond looked down and saw a coworker lying on the floor who was covered in pencils. This sight terrified him. Before he could do anything, the manager violently threw him out of the office. It was clear his boss had problems, but it wasn't just him. As Desmond looked around, he realized that all his coworkers were acting completely crazy. Scared, he ran out of the office with his furious colleagues chasing him. Using his smarts, Desmond managed to temporarily get away from them by hiding where they couldn't see him. Catching his breath, he looked around and saw another colleague still working hard. Desmond approached him, hopping for an answer, but the coworker just yelled a stream of insults at him. The colleague then took a drink from a cup on his desk. Desmond suddenly remembered seeing lots of those drinks yesterday and wondered if they were somehow causing this mess. Without time to think, Desmond accidentally tripped over a wire on the floor. His coworker, who had been editing videos all day without saving his work, flew into a super angry rage, seeming much stronger than before. He threw Desmond several feet across the room and slammed him against the wall. As Desmond struggled to breathe, he grabbed a piece of wood nearby and hit his colleague hard. To his surprise, the blow was deadly, and the coworker instantly fell down dead. Desmond, still shaken from the fight, slipped into a small room and thought about how everyone who had gone crazy seemed to have been working without stopping. A thought hit him and he decided to pretend to be busy working. To his relief, this plan actually worked, allowing him to leave the main office area. However, just as he got to the main exit, Desmond suddenly remembered that his crush, Samantha, was still inside. Gathering all his courage, he headed back in. Luckily, Samantha was in her private office wearing headphones and unaware of the chaos outside. But Desmond noticed the black drink on her desk, the same kind everyone else had consumed. He tried to take it away, but he accidentally spilled the entire drink all over the desk. It looked like Samantha hadn't drunk much of it yet, as she hadn't fully changed. But Desmond's clumsy attempts to clean up just made her angry, leading to another round of him getting a beating. With the situation getting out of hand, Desmond had no choice but to knock her unconscious. To prevent Samantha from turning into a zombie, Desmond immediately tied her up. When Samantha woke up, she was confused and didn't know what had happened. Desmond planned to leave the building and explain everything later. However, as he reached the stairwell, he saw a horde of zombies rushing up toward them. He quickly backed away and hid in a nearby room. Just as he closed the door, he heard a noise behind him. A man suddenly grabbed him, but it turned out to be his colleague Murad, who hadn't drunk the black liquid. After making sure they were both safe, they decided to work together. Once the zombies had left the office area, Desmond, Murad, and the now-awake Samantha carefully approached the stairwell again. But the scene they saw was even more terrifying than before, forcing them to find a different way out. Unfortunately, the elevator wasn't working. The air vent seemed like a good option, but after struggling for a while to fit Samantha inside, they gave up and decided to break a window instead. Desmond grabbed a printer and smashed it against the glass. To their surprise, the glass didn't break, and it immediately set off the security system, sealing the entire building with steel shutters. Since this company made weapons, it had the highest security level. Now only the company's executives could unlock it, which meant they had to go through several zombie-filled floors to reach the top. Seeing the zombies attacking each other, Desmond remembered his previous idea. The trio pretended to be zombies themselves and successfully reached the Human Resources Department. The women working there had all turned into zombies and were fiercely attacking an elderly man, creating a horrifying scene. Desmond quickly thought of a plan and used the office intercom to announce a fake company holiday, which successfully distracted the zombies and saved the old man. Now they only needed to pass through the sales department to get to the executive offices. However, the employees here were extra aggressive, likely due to the high stress of dealing with customers. With no other option, they prepared themselves to fight their way through. The group entered the storage room and quickly made some makeshift weapons. Since the number of zombies was too large, they reluctantly had to untie Samantha for the time being. Fully armed and ready, the 4 of them nervously stepped outside. Despite the difficult situation, their fighting skills were effective, even against the smarter zombies. Samantha especially was supercharged by the energy drink and easily took down several strong zombies. In the middle of the chaos, a survivor lunged at Desmond, desperately asking if he had consumed the energy drink. Murad, mistaking the survivor for a zombie, immediately swung his axe, killing him instantly. It was Murad's first time fighting, and even though it was a sad mistake, Desmond didn't blame him. After all, Murad's only goal was to save him. As they looked at the bodies of the zombies scattered around, the group was shocked by their new level of strength. However, they didn't have time to stop. They finally reached the door to the executive office. The executives, suspicious that the group might be infected, were hesitant to let them inside. However, their worries disappeared when a janitor calmly opened the door, leading to an awkward moment of eye contact between both groups. Just like that, the group was able to enter the office without trouble. Tensions rose immediately inside the room, and one of the executives sternly said, "This is a weapons manufacturing company. Absolutely no violence allowed." Despite the strange warning, both sides lowered their weapons. Through their conversation with the executives, they found out that the problem did start with the drinks, which were supposed to go to the military. However, the executives had no idea why they ended up at the company. While they were talking, the zombie manager, along with his zombie employees, arrived at the door. Their angry faces suggested they had often been mistreated by the executives in the past. The enraged manager roared at the executive, demanding a salary increase to $20,000 for every employee or else there would be serious trouble. The executive just sneered and dismissively said, "We don't have money, but we do have a life to give." This comment completely enraged the manager, who then led the employees in a violent attack, causing the executive to panic. Desmond quickly used a desk to block the door. Just then, the old man stepped out holding a drink. Hearing the manager's words, he wanted to join the cause as a fellow worker, but as soon as he stepped outside, the manager immediately took him down, proving the old man hadn't turned into a zombie. With the zombie crowd about to break through, Desmond and Murad quickly ran into the inner office. The executive managed to shoot one zombie with a shotgun, but there were too many, forcing him to back away. Two board members were instantly overwhelmed and the horde broke through the door. Even with a shotgun, the executive couldn't stop the endless wave of zombies. As he was about to reload, the manager suddenly chopped off his hand. After finishing off the executive, the manager was not satisfied. The small company couldn't quench his ambition. He wanted to use the executive's severed hand to unlock the security system and spread the infection outside. He left a few low-level zombies behind to deal with Desmond and Murad. Desmond swiftly grabbed the shotgun and with a single shot killed all of them. Although the immediate danger was over, Samantha's condition was still serious and they had to find the antidote quickly. They took her to the R&D department and ran into the head scientist. Under Desmond's intense questioning, the scientist told them the truth. The drink was originally a military product meant to boost soldier performance. However, this specific batch was defective. Another scientist, angry about not getting a pay raise, had given it to the employees as a way to get revenge. Luckily, there was an antidote, but it was kept in the warehouse downstairs, which was now filled with zombies. To save Samantha, Desmond and Murad went to the exhibit hall and armed themselves with weapons from the display cases. Fully equipped, they made their way to the warehouse, where they saw the manager on the surveillance cameras brainwashing the zombies. The manager spotted them on the screens, and a huge crowd of zombies started swarming toward them. They quickly found a place to hide. The zombies searched everywhere while Desmond used some of the tainted drink to distract them. As the zombies gathered around the drink, Desmond took the opportunity and opened fire, shooting down a large number of them instantly. With Desmond and Murad working perfectly together, they fought off the remaining zombies and finally managed to locate the antidote. Just then, the manager suddenly appeared in a mech suit and fired a cannon without warning. Desmond was thrown back but fortunately wasn't seriously hurt. The mech's firepower was too much, forcing Desmond and Murad to retreat. Knowing they had the antidote, Desmond tossed it to Murad, telling him to save Samantha while he stayed to keep the manager busy. Desmond shouted insults at the manager, trying to keep his attention. However, as he ran, a zombie attacked him and the manager had him right in his sights. Just then, Samantha, who had taken the antidote, arrived just in time to save Desmond. The three of them ran away while placing explosives along their path. When the manager entered the area where the explosives were set, Desmond hit the detonator, but nothing happened. The remote failed because they hadn't actually placed the detonators inside the explosives. The manager smugly enjoyed his obvious victory. Desmond, as a last desperate move, threw a tripwire mine onto the ground. It was a risky chance. Miraculously, the unlucky manager stepped on the mine. A massive explosion followed, completely destroying the manager and allowing the trio to escape the building. With the nightmare finally finished, Desmond and Samantha began their new life together, with Murad there to witness their happiness. So what did you think of this movie? Leave it in the comments below, and if you like the video, like and subscribe for more movie recaps. See you next time.